The dragons of the lands between are powerful creatures, prepared to burn our tarnish to cinders should we even look in their direction. It is said the undead denizens of Limgrave would gaze at the skies over the lakes, praying that the dragon's flames would burn them to ash. This would be a kindness to those without the ability to die of natural causes due to the removal of the rune of death. While these people saw the dragons as their salvation from a life unending, others saw the power of the dragons and coveted it for themselves. These knights made sport of hunting dragons across the land, wearing the wings and skins of their felled marks with pride across their armor. The Drake Knights may have once been a strong faction in this world, but by the time we make our way to the lands between, none truly remain, as the only one we can meet has strayed from her path. That said, if we follow the clues, we can unravel the ultimate fate of this faction of knights. Thank you for joining us for the latest episode of our Elden Lore series. If this is your first time finding the channel, welcome. We hope you enjoy this video. Normally this is where we ask you to subscribe to our channel and become a part of our incredible community, but right now we have something more exciting to announce. The Square Table Gaming Discord is officially open to any who'd like to join. Follow the link in the description to become a member of our Discord server, and start discussing the lore of Elden Ring with other fans and regular viewers of the channel. We look forward to speaking with you there. With that said, let's get back to the topic at hand. The Drake Knights may just be the oldest knight faction in the lands between, as their armor set is found within a chest in crumbling Farum Azula. If you subscribe to the theory that Farum Azula exists outside of time, tied somehow to the past, then that would mean that this armor set has existed since at least the defeat of Dragon Lord Placidusax. Regardless of that theory, this land has clearly been locked away long enough that if the Drake Knight armor is being kept here, it's safe to say it's extremely old. Interestingly, this set does not give any information on how old the faction may be. It only explains their purpose. The helm tells us it is the black iron helm worn by Drake Knights, features the spoils of a dragon catch as an emblem of pride as both dragon hunter and partaker of communion. From birth, Drake Knights speak not a word. They spend their lives pursuing the strength of dragons for its sublime beauty and inspiration of awe. The armor also includes a cape which is crafted with dragon wing membrane. Why the Drake Knights never speak is a mystery, but in its simplest explanation, these warriors are dedicated to taking the strength of the dragons for themselves. In order to understand the Drake Knights, we have to understand Dragon Communion. We can learn about this process through multiple items and descriptions in the game, and even from Yura, the Bloody Finger Hunter. The Dragon Communion seal is a formless drake blood seal with a Dragon Communion crest, and it tells us, the sacrificial devouring of the heart gives power. Indeed, Dragon Communion is too primal in nature for the term incantation to be appropriate. This seal scales incantations with one's arcane attribute. Various dragon incantations also outline the sheer strength of the dragons, saying they are incantations of those who have hunted dragons and feasted upon their hearts. This is a pure and overwhelming power. Other incantations tell us those extraordinary individuals who perpetuate Dragon Communion are called the Dragon-Hearted. This gives us another moniker for the Drake Knights, the Dragon-Hearted. So we know the Drake Knights are dedicated to hunting dragons, and they partake in Dragon Communion to enhance their strength. But what exactly is Dragon Communion? After defeating Flying Dragon Agil at Agil Lake, we can speak with Yura, who says to us,
"Beautiful work, felling that dragon, and as such, there's something you might like to know. The heart you brought back. It's used in Dragon Communion. If you should find yourself overcome by hunger for the heart, yearning for its strength, then seek the decrepit church on the little island off the western coast. You must not forget, though, those who partake in Dragon Communion will one day shed their humanity, their hunger for dragon, their yearning only worsens. until the floodgates burst, unleashing eternal torment. The strength of a mighty dragon. Magnificent, but deadly. It's no surprise that dragon communion is ruinous.
This explanation shines a light on the process and cost of dragon communion. Dragon hearts are consumed at the altars of dragon communion, and the person engaging in this ritual is granted the strength of dragons through incantations. However, there is a danger to overindulging in this practice, as the Magma Breath incantation tells us. One of the incantations of dragon communion transforms caster into a worm to spew magma breath, allows one follow-up attack. Those who have performed the dragon communion will find their humanity slowly slipping away. Once they fully succumb to their fate, they are left no more than worms that crawl the earth. From this explanation, it seems as though those that overindulge in communion become a form of dragon themselves. Upon defeating Magma Worm Makar, we earn the Magma Wyrms Scale Sword. This weapon is a curved greatsword wielded by Magma Wyrms. The shape resembles a dragon's jaw and is covered in hard scales. It's said these land-bound dragons were once human heroes who partook in dragon communion, a grave transgression for which they were cursed to crawl the earth upon their bellies, shadows of their former selves. This item description confirms the idea that if you partake in dragon communion too often, your ultimate fate will be to become a Magma Wyrm. This means there's a strong possibility that the worms we face throughout the lands between were once Drake Knights themselves. There is also the possibility that some of them were once Draconic Tree Sentinels, as we outlined in a previous lore video, as any who overindulge in this practice may become worms, but it seems there's more evidence that these enemies were once Drake Knights. There's only one Drake Knight who escaped this fate, Elanora, the Violet Bloody Finger. While we already have a video discussing her backstory and relationship with Yura, the Bloody Finger Hunter, there is an aspect of her character we didn't cover. It seems as though the draw of the Bloody Finger, of Mohg's power, is actually stronger than the lust for power that accompanies dragon communion. It can be assumed that Elanora once felt that same pull from engaging in communion, and was always looking for her next mark, the next heart to consume to gain more power. What if Elanora knew her fate as a Drake Knight? She knew one day that she would become a worm, cursed to wander the land on her belly, but she continued to travel with Yura anyway, until one day she was approached by an acolyte of Mohg, the Lord of Blood. What if an offer was made? Serve Mohg, become a Bloody Finger, and replace your hunger for dragon hearts with a lust for blood? What if Elanora saw a way out? A way to retain her human form, but to take it, she needed to give up her most precious connection, her relationship with Yura. This could be how Elanora resisted the urge for dragon communion and kept her human form, never being consigned to become a Magma Wyrm, maintaining her humanity but losing something precious along the way. It seems the ultimate fate of the Drake Knights was to travel the world killing so many dragons and consuming so many hearts that they eventually became dragons themselves, cursed to roam the land without the ability to take flight. They gained the power they were always fighting and scraping for, but at the cost of their human forms. Never again would they be human, but they wouldn't be dragons either, simply worms, without the ability to fly, their wings decrepit, not fully formed, unable to carry their weight. In the end, the Drake Knights are lost to history due to their lust for power, and the final member of their order is nothing more than a bloodthirsty warrior, consigned to working alongside Mohg in order to avoid the fate of her comrades. Thank you for joining us for our dissection of the Drake Knights, the most enigmatic knights in the lands between. Do you believe the Magma Wyrms we face throughout the game were once Drake Knights? Did Elanora break the draw of dragon communion by becoming a Bloody Finger? Has this power always been a part of the lands between, or were the altars of dragon communion brought here from another land? Why does the Drake Knight armor set go so hard? We look forward to reading your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on any of our lore dives. We can't wait to see you again for more Elden Lore.